So it's a bit like what I was saying on the earlier recording around the lake. Values imply themselves. To value something is to be exercising a value, to value it. Existence has to be valuing and valuing its ongoing existence. It is, it seems to be the foundation. There can't be anything earlier than that, else it would not exist. And that's what we are. And in this case, I've come to it from a different point of view, from a dream that's locked in. I've suddenly lighted upon what happens when things are not working, if you like, and come to the conclusion that life is this extraordinary ability to be imagining and imagine how to move towards such goals as are imagined. And that itself is an imagination. You see, the whole of living is simply thought, understanding. This is life eternal, to know, to think, to know, to understand, to have a view, a representation of a reality, to have an understanding of a reality that is eternal, namely God Himself, life eternal, the very essence of what life is, the ability to, even the potential, the existence of, the possibility of thought. But I think there may be some fundamental notion that the possibility by definition entails its own existence. If I say possibly so and so, in some sense I have the trace already. It's been conceived of what can be thought of. It's what we're thinking of that constitutes our whole experience. If we're not thinking of it, we have no experience. It's as if it doesn't exist. But if there's thinking of it, thinking itself means existence. So you get Descartes, I think, therefore I am. There's something fundamental about existence and thinking that are utterly inseparable. Although we might have an imagination that they are separable. But I don't think you can really quite grasp it, can you? What is a thought if nobody thinks it? Yet how can a person be experienced as even existing without thinking? It means nothing if there's no thought anywhere about the existence of this person. In other words, a person isn't a person in the absence of thought. I think what I'm touching on is something close to this concept of the self-existent. We think of God as the prime mover and say, yes, well, fair enough, what caused God? And we say, no. He is the cause. Okay, what caused the cause? And we can't quite get out of that mindset. We haven't quite grasped what a person is, whether it's you and I or the concept of God. But for it to be meaningful at all, there must be thought about it. And even for that thought to be being thought by something is only meaningful if the thought is going on. I think I'm saying again, aren't I, that reality and dreams are much the same. They are simply in some sense the presence of thought. And we have all sorts of thoughts about what might be the cause of such thoughts and the environment in which such thoughts can exist. But our view of such is still only by thought. Thank you, Heavenly Father.
So we come to value a practice that will encourage this imagination, this reaching out beyond what is to what perhaps could be and how perhaps to attain it. It's what Steiner sees as absolutely foundational in the youngest of children, that you build on their imagination while all the neurons are there in the brain, before they die off at a phenomenal rate through not being used, because you're waiting for some dexterity of ability to write or do certain things, and you're holding up the thinking in the meantime. Steiner doesn't. Stories, the imagination, are everything. And of course, what we've said here is, well, we want stories that are not locked into negativity. We want positive stories. And if you think of praise and worship of God, it's constantly relating to the notions of perfection and peace and joy and love and hope and meaning to life and compassion and creativity and you name it. We're constantly applying this to our view of God and what we value. We are praising it, we are focusing on it, so that to spend a time in worship transforms the individual. You know, he's quite happy to worship for 2 or 3 hours at a stretch, just singing away with a whole company of people that reinforce this. It's the way to go. So that religion can become something wonderful, something that nurtures creativity and goodness and blessing and positiveness as regards to fullness of life and life eternal. Hope. Foundation of hope. Good company that similarly wants to do this, reinforcing. You know, good company is more important than almost anything else, because it's going to transform you. This is why we don't want to throw people out or put them at a distance. If we can ride with it and not get too damaged by them, then we can bring change into their dream of living, their nightmare of living, to a dream, something wonderful. Thank you, Heavenly Dad. Well, this is one of these, recordings from 5 years ago, as you can see from the date. And I've added the last few minutes or so, 4 minutes perhaps. According to, how my view has developed through these past 5 years. It leads so obviously onto it. Thank you, Heavenly Dad. I've remembered what I wanted to add, which was mainly music, how we are nurturing the kids. We have songs like I'm a helper, I'm big, I am strong, I can help you all day long, just call me, call my name. I've forgotten how it goes, but do you see you're getting the kids to imagine being a lovely, helpful child, and someone who is enjoying helping and being a blessing to mum or dad. Traditional view, mum in the house, dad in the garden. And there's something beautiful about being with the kids and singing with them and the beauty of the potential of life, abundant life here in these little ones. And I mean, they're doing colouring and they dance and they sing and they play, and there's joy and there's laughter and there's loveliness. It's building an imagination and a view of self, of course. I'm big, I'm strong, I can help you all day long. This willingness to be part of, in this case, a sort of family. How lovely. You see, we are come that they might have life, and have it more abundantly. Thank you, Heavenly Dad. I'll just add yet again something approaching about 10 minutes through this recording. It's not just imagination, it's action. If you've got a class of kids and they're restless, young ones, you don't just try and take control, so to speak. You say, right, let's all go for a run around the field. I mean, assuming your schooling structure allows this, and of course a Steiner one does. And so they spend, just 10 minutes running around the field. And then they come in, and they sit down, and they're fine now. They can take a time of quiet, peace, recovery, and just the mind working without this tremendous desire to create and act. It's as if the body has this build-up of potential that gets stronger and stronger, and they've got to, go and have some exercise, burn off the energy. And of course, even in the most ordinary of schools, we've had it that, well, we need break time, not just going from, for argument's sake, 9 o'clock until lunchtime at 12. So at, at 10:15, we have a 15-minute break, and they all buzz around and change classrooms and walk up and down the corridors if it's pouring with rain, or walk across, sit in the playground for 10 minutes or so, and then come in again, and everything's shifted round, and the need to live has been expressed, has been released, and they can now settle and, it's a English lesson now, or, a maths lesson, or painting time. But painting time, of course, is very creative because we're moving around, we're moving our arms, and we go and get the paper, and we go and get the paints, and we ask the teacher if so-and-so's, and then come back again, and our friend's got a different painting to us. That's interesting. I think I'll copy that a bit. And so it goes on, you see. We're creating. Those neurons are firing. Thought is rushing into the being, and it's being translated into action and more ideas and even understanding. And understanding sort of sets channels of thought for the future that make life more interesting and creative as well. What's going on in the child, you see, it's fantastic. And perhaps as it atrophies, it slows down and starts to become confined. as you get older and routinized, and then the body starts to die because it's not. What Paramahansa says is volition. He's got a set of energization exercises, or yogoda as it was originally called, and they are to, you consciously use the mind to tense and relax the muscles, to move the limbs in a certain way. You're exercising, deliberately using the body in motion, in a sort of creativity, you see. And this, of course, in a very practical way, flushes oxygen and nutrition around the body, and the cells get replenished, renewed, and everything's full of vitality again, and you're able to perhaps receive thoughts better now, more constructive, more creatively in line with your values and what you would draw from, if you like, the Akashic record, or the ever-present mind. We draw thoughts and ideas and words coming to our mind, and we become more and more of a person, more and more vital, healthy, active, alive and well. I mean, it's not, it's not very complex. It's not rocket science. It's just obvious. The kids are restless, right? Let them go for a run. Let them all shuffle around the classroom for a moment and get some exercise. And shall we do some exercise? Or shall we sing a song? And we all stand up and clap our hands. Right? In other words, we're all suddenly engaged in action, creativity, use of the body and the mind, and interaction of such. And Steiner was way ahead of his time. If he'd been more enlightened, he would have been a terrific blessing, a bit like an avatar, so to speak, as they've been seen by religions. Thank you, Heavenly Dad.